"Sir, you're trespassing, and I'm placing you under citizen's arrest." The words rang out across my ranch, spat by a man standing square in the shadow of my boots on my land, with a swagger so absurd it'd be comical if it wasn't outright deranged. I didn't flinch, didn't smirk, just stared past him toward the barn where two of my deputies emerged into the dawn, their badges glinting in the rising sun like a signal flare. The fool, puffed up in his knockoff authority vest, didn't hear the barn door creak behind him. Didn't sense real law closing in. His reckoning was here, and he was too busy playing vigilante to notice. This mess started a week earlier, just before sunrise, when the quiet of my land was shattered by tires crunching gravel. I was at the north fence, resetting a post my gelding had knocked loose. The air was sharp, the world still stirring. I just hammered the rail back when a sleek black SUV rolled up the dirt path like it owned the place. City folks, I thought, they see a gate and assume it's a welcome mat. Out stepped the first wave of trouble, Lillian Harper, hauling two yapping purse dogs on leashes, her hair styled for a gala, not a dirt road. She adjusted her oversized sunglasses and scanned my ranch like she was appraising it for auction. Then the passenger door opened, and out strutted the real problem, Douglas Reed, clipboard in hand, mirrored aviators flashing, and a badge so shiny it screamed dollar store bravado. He stood tall, like he'd rehearsed this moment in his bedroom mirror. My gut clocked him instantly. This guy's been binging cop dramas and thinks trespassing laws are optional. I leaned on my post-hole digger, wiped sweat from my brow, and watched them saunter through my open gate like it was an RSVP. Lillian marched straight for me, phone already recording. Douglas glanced at his clipboard, scribbling nonsense. "Morning," I said, calm and steady. "Something I can help you with?" Lillian didn't flinch. Douglas spoke up. "Sir, we're here on official community business. We've received reports of non-compliant fencing and structures violating Section 5D of the Rural Aesthetic Code. We're conducting a full inspection." His voice was so rehearsed I could practically hear his imaginary fanfare. Lillian chimed in. "Your property falls under our expanded HOA jurisdiction. It impacts the visual corridor of our community." I let their self-important words hang in the air for a moment. "There's no HOA out here," I said, flat and firm. "This land's been private since my great-grandfather staked it. You're about 10 miles off your turf." Lillian stiffened like I'd insulted her lineage. "Our updated charter includes rural buffer zones," she snapped. "Your land affects our neighborhood's integrity." I blinked. "Visual corridor?" Douglas stepped forward, pen poised like a sword. "Sir, you're in violation of fence uniformity, non-neutral barn paint, and improper livestock containment. I'm issuing a compliance notice and scheduling a hearing." He tore off a form, complete with a fake HOA crest and some gibberish Latin. I glanced at it, had to admire the effort, if not the sanity. "You know we've got a sheriff in Willow County," I said. "You might want to run your hearing by him." Lillian scoffed. "We don't need local law. This is civil enforcement." Douglas nodded. "I'll need your name." I gave a slow, deliberate smile. "You're standing on Sheriff Ethan Caldwell's ranch," I said. "That would be me." Douglas's pen froze. Lillian's phone dipped slightly. Their brains finally started catching up. "That doesn't exempt you from regulation," Douglas stammered. I crossed my arms. "What it does is make this a legal matter. You're trespassing, impersonating authority, issuing fake citations, and filming private property without consent. That's 4 charges. Want to keep going?" Lillian waved a hand, dismissing me. "No need for drama. We're just enforcing standards." I stepped closer. "And you're breaking the law. I've asked you to leave. That's what you'll answer for." They backed off, but not before Douglas vowed to return with backup. Lillian yanked her dogs, stormed to the SUV, and they peeled out, leaving dust in their wake. I stood there, chewing on the absurdity, and texted my deputy, Luke, who ranches nearby. "HOA clowns playing cop again. Keep eyes open." Luke replied fast, "They hit my place last week." Say the word, I'll help shut them down. I didn't report it yet. I wanted them cocky, thinking they'd rattled me. Give them enough rope, they'd hang themselves. Sure enough, the next day, they returned, bolder. This time with 2 new recruits in matching vests, marching across my land like they were in a parade. Douglas pointed at my barn, barking about code enforcement. Then he pulled his citizen's arrest stunt. He didn't see Luke or Deputy Sarah Monroe step out from the barn, hands near holsters, badges catching the dawn like a warning shot. Douglas turned, locked eyes with them, and his bravado evaporated. I tilted my head. You were saying something about trespassing? Lillian's voice cracked, panicked. You can't do this. You don't know the rules. Luke chuckled dryly. Ma'am, you're the one who doesn't know where you are. The air crackled, their fake authority crumbling under real law. I'm Ethan Caldwell, Sheriff of Willow County. My ranch is more than dirt and posts, it's a legacy earned by generations. Lillian and Douglas thought they could waltz in with clipboards and cheap badges. What they stumbled into was a trap they were too arrogant to see. The next morning, dust rose again. 2 SUVs rolled in, gleaming like they owned the road. Lillian stepped out, dressed for a corporate meeting, not a ranch. Douglas, still in his wannabe vest, led 2 new faces, a wiry guy, Travis, clutching a camcorder, and a woman, Marion Blake, holding a clipboard thick enough to stop a bullet. They strutted past the new sign I'd posted, private property, sheriff's land, no trespassing. Douglas pointed at the barn, muttering about emergency audits. Lillian's voice boomed, over-rehearsed. Under Section 6C of the Community Visual Preservation Act, this property is under review for multiple violations. Marion stepped up. Marion Blake, Compliance Director. You failed to correct fencing, livestock containment, and unauthorized paint tones. I stood on my porch, coffee cold. You're on private land again. That sign just for show. Douglas smirked. This is an authorized inspection. You refused cooperation last time. Marion adjusted her glasses, oozing fake authority. Temporary HOA Oversight, District 9. Pure fiction, a made-up title for a made-up jurisdiction. They headed for the barn, Douglas signaling Travis to film. I stepped forward, voice like iron. Cross that line, Douglas, and you're breaking Willow County law, not some HOA fantasy. He spun back, defiant. You don't scare me, Caldwell. Law is law. Before I could reply, the barn door groaned. Luke and Sarah stepped out, boots crunching, eyes locked on target. Douglas froze. Travis's camcorder dipped. Marion's pen hit the dirt. Lillian gasped, her dogs yapping wildly. Luke's voice was calm but sharp. Didn't expect y'all back so soon. Lillian stammered, we're within our rights to inspect. I cut in. No, you're not. You're trespassing, impersonating officials, filming without consent. We've got you on your camera, mine, and the department's. Sarah stepped forward, hand on her radio. Stay where you are. Hands visible. Douglas's swagger collapsed, his zip ties dangling uselessly. Lillian's voice pitched higher. This is a misunderstanding. Douglas said this was legal. Marion flipped through her clipboard, muttering about jurisdictional errors. Travis raised his hands. I'm just a freelancer. Found the gig online. Then Douglas made his fatal move. Sheriff or not, I'm detaining you for obstructing community enforcement. He lunged, zip ties out. Sarah was faster, pinning him face down in the gravel before he finished the sentence. Cuffs clicked tight. Luke stomped on Douglas's zip ties, grinding them into the dirt. Nice try, he smirked. Lillian shrieked, stumbling toward the SUV. It's not mine. It's HOA property. Luke checked the plates. Expired, 6 months overdue. This one's getting towed. Marion, pale, backpedaled, claiming she'd been misinformed about boundaries. Travis shrugged. I thought the barn was just a shed, not a sheriff's storage site. I crouched beside Douglas, his face in the dirt. You walked onto a marked law enforcement site, filmed it, then tried to restrain me. That's a felony rap sheet longer than your fake bylaws. Lillian's eyes darted, her empire collapsing. I just brought the coffee. Douglas planned this. I stood, voice cold. You coordinated trespassing. You backed an impersonator. That makes you an accessory. A pickup rolled up. Neighbor Maggie Tate leaned out, grinning, phone in hand. Sheriff, this circus is live. It's viral already. Travis winced. It auto-uploaded. Didn't know it was public. The video, Douglas's zip-tie stunt and Lillian's meltdown, was exploding online. I nodded to Luke. Collect statements. Tow the vehicles. Notify the DA. Douglas was loaded into a cruiser. Lillian and Marion were separated for questioning. Travis's camera was logged as evidence. The ranch fell quiet, but I knew this wasn't over. This wasn't just nosy neighbors, it was a rogue HOA claiming dominion over land they had no right to. I'd make sure they paid. By noon, the internet was ablaze. The clip, dubbed Zip Tie Sheriff, hit 250,000 views. Forums churned with memes, Lillian's screech remixed into EDM, Douglas's badge a punchline. Debates flared. Were HOAs overreaching? Could city rules invade rural land? Travis's Craigslist ad became meme fodder. The DA launched a fraud case against the HOA's fake rural authority scam, uncovering similar stunts on 7 other ranches. I replaced my sign with a permanent one, a carved cedar slab reading Caldwell Ranch, Sheriff's Land. Cross at your peril. Sarah swung by, chuckling. Subtle. That weekend, I hosted a barbecue. Ranchers, deputies, cold beer, ribs smoking under starlight. Laughter echoed as we rehashed Douglas's stunt. A young deputy asked, "What if he'd bolted?" I grinned. Got 200 acres and a mule that hates runners. The storm was over. Douglas and Lillian faced charges: trespassing, fraud, impersonation. Their HOA was dismantled, their fake jurisdiction exposed as a grift. Marion took a plea, Travis walked, but their names were tied to the scandal. My ranch stood secure, my community tighter than ever. A news crew asked if I was surprised. Nope, I said. Boots on the porch rail, badge catching moonlight. People fake power till they meet the real thing. Law's not a costume, it's duty. Willow County settled back to peace, my land untouched, my legacy intact. Douglas and Lillian faded, their scheme a cautionary tale. My ranch, my rules, my quiet earned, not given and guarded by those who know a badge is only as strong as the one wearing it.